All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 249 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the FAQ message board. Our panel today consists of Marcus Almighty Mark.
Hello.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hello.
And St. Louis Kiss Lonnie.
What's
and
up?
We are going to be talking about another album that celebrates its birthday in the month of May. Thank you all for the feedback for the last episode on Unmasked. And no, because we don't like every song necessarily does not make us a Kiss hater. It means that we didn't care for that song on the day that we did our evaluation, with the exception of Me and You're All That I Want, which I really don't like. It's right up there, Read My Body, or whatever the hell that one is, and the stuff on Smashes and Nothing Can Keep Me From You. But that aside, don't hate Kiss just because we're able to say we favor songs other than other songs. And as Kiss fans, it changes on a daily basis anyway, so there we go. Let's get into some news. Today, Sixthman, or the Kiss Crew, sent out an email with the Kiss Cruise 9 theme, Rock and Roll Legacy. So I wonder if you'll be receiving another rehearsal live in concert. Probably not, because I'm not going. You'll probably get a set with the most rarities ever performed by the band on a cruise, just because I'm not there. But as they say in their press, over the years, Kiss has created a legacy that is not only undeniable, but recognized all over the world. Book your room now and celebrate the legacy of Kiss at Sea. Hoorah! They'll be joined by The Darkness. Now, that's a big selling point for some people.
Darkness.
The Darkness, the latest announced act. Bruce Kulick, of course. Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses is how they build him. I don't think he's been in Guns N' Roses since 1991 or 1990. Civil War was the last recording he played on. But he's hilarious. Love Steven. He was at Peters.
He was on the cruise I went on.
Yeah, great guy. New Roses are going to be there, and they're currently opening select dates in Europe for Kiss, which was news to me because I thought David Garibaldi was opening, and then I heard that New Roses were signed up for at least the first 3 shows, 2 in Germany, 1 in Austria. So I'm still trying to find out if Dave did any painting or whether that was to fill a gap. Of course, the Kiss Cruise is October the 30th to November the 4th, and by the sounds of it, there are berths available. Other news today, Ace Frehley completed work on Origins Volume 2, including covers from Jimi Hendrix, Cream, Zeppelin, The Animals, Paul Revere, and the Raiders, and hopefully Deep Purple, that one he cut for his last album that didn't include. And I'm also hoping that he re-recorded something from Kiss, like maybe Dark Light, with all of those solos that he accused Bob of stealing from him, put back in how he wanted. But, just some quick guesses. What's it going to be? I think Sunshine of Your Love from Cream, Dazed and Confused would just be too perfect for Ace from Zepp. I don't know. We got to get out of this place. It's probably going to be Animals. It was one of their bigger hits, but it wasn't written by them. And then,
you can see Ace saying that.
Oh, yeah, got to get out of this place. I mean, perfectly. And then for Paul Revere, there's a bunch of good stuff from that band. Kicks immediately jumped to mind because, kind of 66, 67 was their sweet spot, and that's when he...
Indian Reservation.
Well, that comes later. That was their only number 1, I think. But Hungry or Good
have
Thing.
That 45.
And it'll be interesting because he's had a bunch of guests. He's had Bruce, who's going to, I think, be on the Hendrix one. Lita Ford's going to be on there again. And who knows whom else. So, cool stuff to look forward to anyway. Hopefully it's a little bit more music than the last one. And again, I want that Deep Purple track, just because I love Purple. All right, Dynasty Green Vinyl is arriving. It looks fantastic. I have not ordered it. I'm passing now until something really... Is that it?
That's it.
Ooh, I don't have mine yet. Look at you.
Yours have a poster and all that?
This is the one this is the European one. It has.
Oh, if you couldn't wait, you were one of those.
Yeah, I was one of those. I know. So here it is. Here's the...
Oh, that looks fantastic. I love it.
It actually looks better in person, actually.
And it's translucent, so...
It is translucent.
No, that looks very fetching.
Yeah, it's nice.
No, nice. I'm still not buying it, but excellent. That came with a poster and the printed inner dust sleeve.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Is that thicker?
Thick. Yeah, sleeve and the normal poster. Yes. So cool.
Awesome. Very cool. Good to see. Glad to see they continue to do all those sorts of things. All right. So, Mark, talking about music, you've got a new EP dropping on Saturday, I believe. Can you just tell everyone about it and where they can find you for it? Because obviously, as a supporter of your music, anytime you have something new, I'm always interested.
Okay, so as I've mentioned a few times before, I have a sort of offshoot project going on called Mark Anthony K and the Lower Third Collective, and I have an EP coming out. There is the cover. I don't know if you can see that at all, but kind of glary. But anyways, you can get that off of Bandcamp. Right, you just look up Mark Anthony K and the Lower Third Collective. It's the only one there, obviously, so it'll come up right away. 4 songs. Let's put it this way. Much more straight ahead rock metal, hard rock metal type of stuff. No keyboards or stuff like that. Although one song does have a Hammond B3 organ in it, but that's, it's far away from sort of anything prog-ish. But still, when I was writing some of the Project Gemini stuff, I started writing these kind of riffs and stuff like that weren't really progressive. So rather than throw them away, I stashed them away, and I ended up using them later and wrote this EP. And I really like how it turned out. I think it turned out really good. It's a lot more raw sounding too. It isn't as polished, and some people might actually like that or might prefer that. So far, the people who have gotten the pre-order from it have all given it the thumbs up from the first song that's available. And as of Saturday, the whole thing will be available. So check it out. It's only a low price of $7 Canadian, which is like $3 US, I think, or something like that. So, so there you go.
Very cool. Yeah, I heard the first track. Impressed as always. So congratulations on yet another musical project coming to reality. All right, so let's talk about 1992.
Woo!
We're going back in time to an album that I have a love and hate relationship with, because 1992, let's see, where was I? I was at Penn State in Scranton, and I'd gotten suckered. I didn't realize I wasn't really going to State College. I was going to Throop, and it was a shithole where I was. And Revenge came out, and we were all listening to Nirvana. I was kind of off Kiss a little bit because I couldn't afford magazines, so I wasn't current on anything. I don't think we even had MTV, but ended up finding out that Kiss had released a new album, and I put it on, and holy shit. Number one, Sonic Fidelity blew me away versus the previous album, Hot in the Shade, obviously. There's a big difference in the sonic quality of the two albums. And then the songs. And I don't know whether it was that I'd grown up a couple years, which I obviously had, but I'd also grown up a couple of years. But I didn't really resonate with the songs. There was a lot of stuff in that I suddenly felt like I was a little bit older than what they were aiming for as a target. So I had problems, which is really weird as a Kiss fan, because come on, listen to all the catalog. It's all pretty lowbrow stuff. There's nothing particularly stimulating in it. It's just good rock music that you forget your problems and just bop your head to. But at that time, I was like, it didn't work for me as much as I did like Unholy as a different kind of grooving song. So, Lonnie, why don't we go straight to you, because I know you're tapping your feet saying, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Talk about it.
So, Julian, you said you were in 1992. 1992 for me, I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade at St. Thomas the Apostle in North County, what we called North County in St. Louis. And it was a great time for me because the Use Your Illusions album had come out in the fall of 91, and then Kiss releases Revenge in the spring of 92. And like my two favorite music from my two favorite bands. And I don't know if you guys remember there was a Rip magazine special that had the Revenge lineup on the cover, And there was a secondary story from about an interview with Axl Rose too that Rip did a 3-part series of. The first part of the series had Axl on the cover. Then the second part of the series had, small pictures of Axl, and the bulk of the cover was another band. But I'll never forget that magazine cover. It had Kiss on the front and then a small picture of Axl. It's just like the perfect time capsule of where I was musically in my life, and like maybe where I still am musically today, for that matter, because they're still my 2 favorite bands ever. And I've told the story on the show before that, I'm 12. I guess I was 12 years old at the time, and I didn't know a new Kiss album was coming out. I mean, you listen to the radio and you can, your parents really have control over the radio in the car. I mean, you knew you could, like from magazines when you'd go to the grocery store with your parents and you'd flip through Rip or Hit Parade or Circus or whatever to see what was going on and what was coming out. So I didn't know Kiss had a new album coming out, but I saw the Unholy video on MTV. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it just was so much different from what we had heard previously from Kiss on Hot in the Shade, that it blew me away. And, and it blew a lot of Kiss fans away. It was not what Kiss fans were expecting out of the band. And I guess we had heard God Gave Rock and Roll to You prior to that from Bill and Ted, but still, it still wasn't really what we were expecting. So, I mean, the album, Julian said, like, the album doesn't really resonate with you when it first came out, that you're in college and like, well, this is kind of shtick, kind of lowbrow stuff. But I guess that you said you weren't the audience they were targeting. They were targeting, I guess, someone like me at that age, because songs like Domino and songs like Spit and Take It Off, and I just want to, if you're 12, 13 years old, God, that's awesome. I love everything about it. You're as hormonal as could possibly be, and shit like that's just the coolest thing ever. And you get something like that out of my favorite band, yeah, I can look on it now, and yeah, those lyrics are cheesy and this and that, but I still absolutely love it to this day. And I mean, I listened to it yesterday, or I don't know, the other day, just trying to get my rankings in. It's just like I still can't get enough of this album this many years later. I absolutely love it. And first time I came on the show, Julian asked me what my favorite album is. I said Revenge, hands down, and it still is, and it always will be.
Yep, it's your Asylum.
It is.
Just like I love that cheesy stuff on Asylum because it resonated with me when I was 14. I try and put it back
the same reasons
under the microscope in the same way. Ken, obviously as someone who came up through album by album all the way to this point, what was your first thoughts on Revenge when you heard it and heard about it?
Well, I knew it was coming. I knew that. And then I think I did see first. I saw the Unholy, like Lonnie. I used to tape the Headbangers Ball on VHS.
It's an appointment.
And
yeah.
People, VHS is
yes.
Cassette thing anyway. So I used to record those automatically I think it was Saturday night. That's right. And I'd watch them back, and I think I knew Kiss was going to be on there, or a video or something, and I saw that, and I'm like, holy cow, what the heck? This is great stuff. It sounds great, looks great. The best the band has looked since taking off the makeup. And action as when Creatures came. After The Elder, the same thing is like, okay, yes, they're back again. They're back, and then I saw the club show, the first club show in San Francisco at the Stone, and I've talked about that before, where I got in there and they're playing the album. So I actually was hearing the album as we're waiting in the club. They're playing the Revenge album before it was even released. So I heard it early, which was cool. And I was like, oh, this stuff is freaking great. And then of course, I bought it on the day album. So I was very happy with what I was hearing. It's for me, definitely.
Very cool.
Top 5, could be top 5 almost. Too.
Always jealous of your club tour.
No
First
doubt.
show with Eric.
That was great. And great. Yeah,
That and your creature shows.
That was a sweat pit, wasn't it? So
it was a sweat pit.
all right, Mark, fellow Asylumite.
Yes. So, hang on a second. There you go. I got into this record because of my friend who was in my band at the time. This was the period for me when I was in that band Nasty Black. Julian, you might be aware of that recording that I had made there.
Larger than life.
Yes. That was right around that time. And I remember going to his place, and he brought me into his living room, and he goes, "Hey, check this out." He didn't tell me what it was. He just started playing something, and started with that dun 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 there there, and I started listening. Wow, this is pretty cool. He goes, "You know what this is?" I go, "No." He goes, "It's Kiss." And honestly, when he told me that, I was like, "Really?" I go, "It sounds pretty heavy for Kiss, because you heard Forever and stuff like that, and they didn't really have hugely heavy songs at that point. Rise to It and stuff like that was on before, so that was more like bluesy rock. But this was like hard hitting, borderline metal. You know what I mean? Stuff. So, and then we started listening to the rest of the record, and hanging out, drinking beers, and it was like, oh, this is pretty good actually. And but after like 5-6 beers, everything sounds great. So even if it wasn't good, it would have sounded good regardless. Yeah, there you go. So, but as I've given it more listens throughout the years, it's one of those records like Julian where I've had up and down moments with it. I find there's some times where I find that it kind of connects with me good. Other times where I just kind of just slap my head and say, Jesus, what are these guys thinking when they write some of this stuff? It's like, like Spit. It's like got to be the worst song ever recorded and committed to tape ever. I'm surprised that Bob Ezrin even like okayed that. I thought he was supposed to be like some world-renowned producer, that he let that slide and get on a record.
It's fun. What are you talking about?
He needs to be bitch slapped for that to happen.
Well, he did take a writing credit on it, did he?
But you know what? I'm gonna say this though, because I know that people are gonna already expecting me to go on the whole Bob Ezrin trip here. But I'm gonna say this: Bob Ezrin did a phenomenal job sonically on this record. It sounds really, really good. Some of the best guitar tones I've heard on a record, like possibly ever, that he's ever done on a record. I love the sound of Bruce Kulick's guitar solos. They're so, crunchy and in your face, and that wah sound that he has on this record. Honestly, it's what made me that much more a Bruce Kulick fan than before. I mean, I was on the Bruce train right from the beginning. I loved his playing. And, Asylum's my favorite record. So, of course, his playing on that is fantastic. But on this, he really stepped it up a notch. And his tone was what I kind of started gearing toward as a guitar player myself, like to get that wah sound. I wanted that sound. It sounded so awesome, So a lot can be said positively about Bob on this record for sure. As far as some of his decisions on the songs that were allowed on this, I think he needs a good talking to on a few of them, but overall the songs I think are decent. They sound okay, but I mean, let's put it this way. I look at it like this: there's 12 songs on this record. 5 of them are fantastic, like absolutely stand out, and they're the ones that right now really brought the record up about 5 or 6 places in my ranking from before. Like just listening to the last couple of days, these 5 songs, and I'm sure we're going to talk about them when we get to them, really upped it for me. And but the lower half of it I still think is pretty weak, and that's why I'm kind of surprised because I think that Bob, I blame that personally on Bob's shoulders, because he's the one who's supposed to be steering the boat. He should have had the balls to say to them, no, come on, this song is crap, we're not putting this on, and he didn't, so, but that's my first impression.
Awesome. So before we get into the rankings, I'll just say, Mitch, we should have had you on the show. So I got my new T-shirt, by the way. So listen to Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon. I paid for it as well. That wasn't a paid product placement, in case cynical were wondering. No, I buy all my shit. I lost my train of thought completely.
Yes.
We just walked into a wall. So what I was going to say is, as usual, we're going to rip off the Lipstick Panel's ranking methodology. We've all provided rankings in order from least favorite to most favorite of the songs on the album, assigned a point value to each, add them up, and then shaking the hat, and we're going to get started right away with, in 12th place, Car Jam 1981 on 7 points. That one to me feels like everyone kind of ranked it a little bit low because there's a lot better stuff on the album, and it seemed just to be one of those things for me. When I first heard the album, I'm like, this is all they did for Eric Carr. They took a demo which I already had, and they butchered it. They took it out of its original context. They shortened it. They added Bruce. No offense to Bruce, because his guitar work on it is absolutely phenomenal. But they took Ace out, which, as a tribute to Eric Carr, to a tribute to what he had recorded, it was just, to me, it was the complete wrong way of doing a tribute to him. If anything, they should have, done a live album. But I totally get why that one's ranked so low. For me, I actually ranked it the highest of you all. So let's see. Lonnie, let's start with you. Your thoughts.
I did rank it on the bottom. It is my least favorite. Excuse me, my least favorite track on the album, and mainly for the reasons you just said, Julian. It just seemed as much as they wanted it to be a tribute to Eric Carr, it's really a throwaway on the album. It's the one throwaway on the album for me. That if I listen to Revenge straight through, rarely do I finish Car Jam, and it's sad in that, because Eric Carr is a great drummer and was a huge member and a huge of importance to the band for a long time. And it's a shame that that's the one tribute he really got from the band. I agree there should have been some kind of live album after he passed to celebrate him and his accomplishments in the band. I also agree with Ace being taken out. I wish Ace would have been left in, and if they're going to put that on the album, leave it as true to its form as possible. But Bruce's guitar work is amazing on there as well, but I would have preferred it to be in its original form and not chopped up the way it is. So for those reasons, it is my least favorite. It's the one throwaway on the album for me, and which is a shame because Eric Carr was incredible.
Yeah, instrumentals are always an easy target to place last in any ranking, is the way I look at it. But on the positive side is, think of the sonic fidelity of that recording, which means that Bob had stuff that sounds that good from The Elder in his vault, because Eric was begging for that song throughout his life. Would have loved to have had a copy. You hear him talk in interviews, oh, I want it, I don't have it. And then the moment he dies, it magically appears. So, Mark, what are your thoughts on Car Jam?
A lot of the same that Lonnie said, and you as well. Obviously, to me, it seems like a bit of a wasted opportunity. You're trying to give tribute to this guy who was such an integral part of the band for all those years, and really, it just ends up being a mishmash of stuff on there. Like you said, it would have been a much better tribute to him if it was the song complete, even, I think, just to show his performance of it. I'm glad that the drum solo's in there, because Eric Carr, for me personally, when I think of Eric Carr, I always think of his drum solos from the live concerts. They were always such a big part of the shows that they did, and that they have a recorded version of it on there like that. That sounds really good now, thanks to Bob. I'm just happy that that's on there. Of course, like you said, if they should have left Ace on there to make it really much more authentic. And I wouldn't even mind if Paul or somebody sang something there, just like to make it a complete song. At least it just seemed very incomplete. That's the one thing I've always hated about it. It just ends so abruptly. It doesn't seem like a song because of that. It just seems like we started something, he did a drum solo, and we just kind of did 30 seconds after and just cut it off. It just seems very incomplete.
Great thoughts. Ken, what about you for Car Jam?
Yeah, well, I like to have peanut butter with my Car Jam. It's just an extra thing. I don't count it as part of the album, even though it's on the album. I don't count it as the core theme or sound of the album itself. I just think it. Yeah, they could have put it on maybe a little 45 in the album as a kind of thing, and maybe done a couple maybe one side that, and the other side another Eric Carr thing. Maybe a live, track on one of the sides of a 45. That would have been maybe better way to do it. So yeah, there's cause it doesn't fit with the rest. It really doesn't. I enjoy it when I hear it. I like hearing, Eric's drums, and he's a great drummer. Was a great drummer. So it's a good reminder of how good of a drummer he was.
And just because it's ranked least doesn't mean we hate Eric Carr or the song. Something has to rank last in these rankings, and that's just how the jam melted. Whatever. Okay, let's move on to in 11th spot, Tough Love on 17 points. Tough Love, I think I had this ranked the highest. So I always like the riff, but in terms of a song, it does feel a little bit incomplete compared to a lot of the other songs on it. It's a great, again, it's all about Bruce for me, so I actually like it more than the rest of you. Ken, I think you liked it the least.
Yeah, I listened to it again, and I just couldn't put it up very high. It's kind of like with when we talked about Unmasked last time, where we had "You're All That I Want." I said the chorus fails, and that's where this one fails too. Is there's no real. I mean, they go tough, then love, and it's just like. Could have come up with something better than that, Paul. Come on, you're better than that.
Or Bob.
I just think it was kind of or Bob, and just reaching for I don't know what. So that's the reason it falls so low. That's the only one that maybe I would skip on this album. Really, it's just really does nothing for me. And I don't know why it's on side one of the vinyl. It should have been on this, towards the end of the album.
Lonnie, you and Mark both have this ranked the same, so let's go with you first.
I like it. I like the verses more than I like the chorus. I'm with Ken on that one. I think the verses have more. It's tough to say thought out too, because I don't know if Kiss lyrics are really thought out and are masterpieces, But I like the verses more than I like the chorus. The chorus, I will agree with you, seems a bit unfinished. That's give me tough love. Okay, back. That's all they had. It seems a bit unfinished and a bit maybe lazy for Kiss, as opposed to coming up with something maybe a little bit better. But I do like the riff. I do like the verses. I think Paul really sounds great on this album, and this song in particular. I'll say it probably throughout the show today, but Paul's vocals just sound great, and I think it's really one of the reasons why I like this too. Is because I think Paul had hit his peak vocally around this era. He really sounds really strong on this record. And you listen like the Unplugged from the same era too. He's just so strong. So I think Paul sounds great. I love the riff. I love the verses. The chorus is a little lacking, but other than that, I think it's a great song.
Yeah, it's surprising that we're talking about our second least favorite song on the album.
You're gonna hear what you're gonna hear. I'm gonna regurgitate what I just said a whole lot on today's show.
All right, well, let's go to Mark then and tell us why.
Well, Tough Love, I think a lot of the points that you guys brought up, I'll echo. I think the chorus is very incomplete. And again, for me, very surprising because, with Bob at the helm, somebody who's so known to be involved in the songwriting, whether it's lyrics or music, and with numerous bands that we know about, the fact that he let something like that slide is just, I don't understand how he let that happen. But the verses are strong. I have to agree with Lonnie. Paul Stanley sounds incredible vocally on this record. Some of the best recorded vocals Paul Stanley's done on here, and that I'll give a tip of the hat to Bob with. He definitely had a lot to do with that, I think, too. Getting the nice sound and tone of his voice on this record sounds great. But the one thing about Tough Love that also kind of bugged me, and I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but that riff at the beginning, that when I heard Heart of Chrome and then I was like, wait a minute, is this like part 2 of Tough Love? Because it sounds almost like they took it and just rearranged the notation a bit, and it's just pretty much almost the same rhythmical idea on there. But I was like, that kind of bugs me when I hear a repeated sort of thing, almost identical in 2 different songs. Again, I think they could have come up with something better for Heart of Chrome if they were going to use it for Tough Love, right? But that's maybe nitpicking. Okay, I'll admit. But overall, I think Tough Love is okay. Again, it has some good some good Bruce soloing in there. But other than that, I don't think there's anywhere near the strongest songs on this record.
No, one of the great things about this record for me with Bob Ezrin is that you can actually see the layers, textures and tones, Bruce's guitars, Paul's vocals, Gene's bass, Eric's drums, the layers of harmonies, and there are some of these tracks that do circulate out there that would be on a deluxe edition, just the harmonies and some of that stuff. It's just exquisite. And throughout this whole album, that is where Bob is best. And this is really, I think he does a better job on this album than perhaps even Destroyer in terms of balancing in the aggression, the music, different era. So for that era, it certainly measures up well.
Be good.
Okay, you behave. Be nice. Look at your wall. Say nice things about Bob. All right, let's move on to 10th place, Spit. And we have 2 factions on this show. We have the faction that hates this song. It's our least favorite on the album. And we have those who actually rank it quite high. So let's go straight back to Mark, who along with me, does not like this song at all.
Shocking.
Okay. This song is garbage, okay? This song is the absolute worst. It's a travesty to the Kiss catalog, this song, okay? This song should have been deleted. Bob should have accidentally went achoo and hit record and recorded over the whole thing by accident and just deleted the whole thing, okay? The lyrics are comical at best, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people who know, like a lot of my friends know that I had a thing for big butt girls too, so I understand where Gene's coming from. Okay, so, but the thing is, there's one thing about writing it into a song like that. I mean, it really does sound Spinal Tap-ish the way they do it, And the one thing that I will give it a thumbs up for is that something that was very, very lacking in Kiss songs that finally appeared is that we had Gene and Paul singing on a song together. Finally. I think that's something that's been long, long, long overdue, and it's just a shame that they had to do it on a turd like this song. So, so I think it sucks and it should be removed.
Yeah, I'm going to pile on and get my thoughts in on this since I hate it. I've always hated it, whether it was going back to the beginning of the show when I said maybe it was where I was at in 1992 that I wasn't able to go back to when I was 14, where I would sing the praises of all this stuff all night. Come on, I couldn't get it in 1992. I hated this song. Once that Spinal Tap lyric comes in, I've got 2 notes written for this song. Bob was brilliant for not taking a co-writing credit on this, and Gene was brilliant getting Paul to sing that line. So, that basically sums it up for me. Otherwise, musically, it's a good song. Lyrically, not so much. Lonnie, let's go to you first on this.
I like it. I think it's fun, and it's total Kiss. I mean, this is Kiss we're talking about. This is the same band that sings "Put Your Hand in My Pocket, Grab Onto My Rocket." So what's so wrong with the lyrics in this song if we're all okay with what's going on, like with "Take Me"? And I know it's on the first 6 albums, and we can't say anything bad about the first 6 albums, especially "Rock and Roll Over." But it's no different than that. It's absolutely in the same exact vein, and I don't care what you say.
Okay, but this is Spinal Tap had not come out yet.
Sure, and not only that,
I get it, but it's in the same vein as anything of this crotch rock. It's the same thing.
Lonnie, come on, these
Take me
guys.
down below. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, but
yes.
here's the thing.
Go ahead, Mark. Questions? Yes, Mark.
don't forget though, back then when they did Rock and Roll Over, these guys were like 26 years old. I could have expected
You're
that.
gonna stop
Now
liking
they're
sex
like,
when you turn 40, Mark?
no, but I'm saying though that I'm surprised though that their lyrical thing is still at that level in their 40s. That's all
I
I'm
haven't
saying.
matured at all since I was 14. I don't know what you're talking about.
Technically,
Well, okay, I
neither
agree
have
with
I, but you know.
So I mean, seriously.
Their lyrics are the same in their 60s too. So.
Correct. Yeah. Ken mentioned "Take Me Down Below." Oh, she said I got a submarine. I know exactly what you mean. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Well, you know the lyrics to that song?
You don't? Why are you on this show?
All right, Ken.
And it is coffee today, boys. I'm just a little wound up.
Ken, we need the voice of reason. Dial 911 for reason.
911. Well, first of all, I agree with Lonnie. It is a fun song. The lyrics, that's fine. I was 31, I think, when it came out. I was okay with it. Yeah, the bigger the cushion, the better the pushing. I knew that was a Spinal Tap reference kind of thing because I saw the movie, in which I loved that movie, Spinal Tap. But anyway,
one of my all-time favorites.
It's classic. Anyone who hasn't seen it, go see it or rent it. Now, Spit should have been called probably what the original title was going to be, which is, excuse my language, but Shit should have been the title of it. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. I try to keep it clean here for your younger viewers. But yeah, it should have been just a different lyric. Otherwise, the lyrics are fine. And again, it's a fun song. They rock out. It's different. It's a different twist for Kiss to do a song like this. I do like the Gene and Paul trade-off vocals, which is always very cool in any song if they can do it. So, hey, it was number 5 on my list. I enjoy it. I don't skip it.
No, I don't skip any song on this album as much as some work and some don't. All right, here we are. 9th position. I Just Wanna on 23 points. Fuh. Yeah, that's my problem with it. I have this second from bottom because of the fuh. Because you didn't have the balls enough to say, fuck it. You wore that stupid shirt in all these photo sessions, and you still didn't have the balls to say it on the record. No, the song just, I mean, apart from it being a rewrite of, what was it, Summertime Blues, it's been accused of being. I love the video, but I'm just not a fan of the song. So, there you go. Lonnie, back to you on that.
It's my second favorite song on the album.
Well, fuck.
I love this song. I remember the video came out for it in summer '92. Obviously, I had the record by that point, but MTV actually played this video quite a bit in the summer of '92, more than they had for a lot of Kiss videos. I remember being on a lot, so I remember friends being over in the summertime and stuff like that, and them hearing that go, and they'd be like, "Oh, who is this?" I go, "This is Kiss." I go, "Really? What's different?" It's people thought, I don't know, people my age thought it was fun and saying the F word without saying the F word, I guess. My niece actually loves this song, and she requested that the DJ played it during my wedding reception, actually, and everybody figured that people who knew it was Kiss figured that, oh, Lonnie. Why did Lonnie request this to be played during his reception? My niece actually requested it to be played during the reception.
You're still making excuses for it, I see.
Funny. Excuse.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Just in case anyone who was there sees this.
No one's watching this. But I think it's a fun song, and it works. It works well live, and I think it worked better live because the crowd is singing the F word back and forth. If you listen to a live 3 and you listen to some of those other Revenge recordings, and that it worked well live. And I don't know. I wish the band would play this, and they won't because there's too many kids that go to shows now, and they just won't play it. And it gets me as much as the band always talks about how great that Revenge is, that they don't play anything off of Revenge. Even when they started the End of the Road tour, what they chose to play from the Unmasked era, obviously Lick It Up and Heaven's on Fire, and they played Hide Your Heart, and still nothing off Revenge. But when they do interviews, they always talk about how great Revenge is, but they never play anything off, and that drives me up the wall. So I think it's a fun song, and I have it second from top.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, I have this really in the dead center.
Oh, in center.
Yeah, right dead center. So there's a lot of things that are good on this, I think, and a lot of things that are bad on this, I think. Paul sings really good, I think, on this song. It's great singing. The video I thought was pretty cool as well. I agree with Lonnie. They played this quite a lot, especially here in Canada, too. They played this far more than Domino ever got played here. This video was played easily 10 times more. The parts that I don't like about this, I've never liked that breakdown. Wake up, baby. That thing kind of just really drove me up the wall when they do that part. I just think it's just really oddly mixed. It sounds really too whooshy. I don't know. That's maybe again just kind of a nitpicky thing on my own end, but I really don't like that. And again, I have to agree that why they didn't just say fuck in it, I don't understand, because at this point, it was very cool and hip to have a PMRC warning sticker on your album. And if anything, it was been proven years later that having that on there almost made kids go out and buy these records because they wanted something cool and against their, parents. So if anything, they missed the boat again, Kiss. Another thing they missed the boat on. They should have put a sticker on there. Maybe it would have sold another 100,000 copies. Who knows, right? But I just think it's not a bad song. I do hear the kind of, summertime blues comparison in there and stuff like that. But it's not blatant, I don't think. There's moments in there where you can pick it out. But I don't think they really meant to purposefully rip it off, I don't think. But, overall, it's kind of middle of the road. Again, I just think that I'm surprised that Bob didn't step in and put more of his production magic over it.
That's obviously Vinnie Vincent's fault for not letting Bob touch it. Vinnie would not let Bob touch it. So it's like Son of Crazy Crazy Nights. These are crazy, crazy. I just wanna, always seen them as kind of similar kind of songs with the same vibe. All right, Ken, final words on I Just Wanna.
Well, the same goes for this as Spit. They should have said the other word. On this, they should have said the F word. You know what? And I think it could have brought in some more sales because you know what? Young kids, teenagers, they love that stuff when someone sings that kind of stuff in the song. It's just like, oh yeah, versus just pho. It's just, I think it would have been a better thing to do. I don't know. They're trying to be safe for some reason. I guess they didn't want that sticker on their album, Mark. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's low, because of that, and because to me it's somewhat the little bit of the ripoff of the Summertime Blues thing. It's obvious, very, very obvious. But otherwise, it's it's a decent song. They just could have put the word in there.
You know what? I'm curious about one thing though, Lonnie. You being at that demographic age when this came out, do you think that you would have been thinking that it was even more cooler if they would have said fuck or not?
Oh, for sure. For sure, I would have thought it'd been cool. For sure, absolutely. Yeah. Because I loved Use Your Illusions, and I with like Perfect Crime, like how many times could Axl say fuck during one song?
Get in the ring, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah. Same thing off it too. And actually one thing I forgot to say about I Just Want, while we're talking about it, is, I would play this song. I remember playing this song and my mom being like, she's like, I know what they're singing in that song. I go, oh no, Mom, look at the lyrics. Look, it says, I just want to forget you. And she's like, they can write whatever they want in those lyric books. I know what they're saying in that song. Pardon the hell out of me.
Yeah, mothers.
Turn that stuff down.
I once had to try and explain, what was it, 10 Seconds to Love, Motley Crue to my mom. Yeah. Did not go well. There we go. So, in essence, Lonnie, they should have called the album Shit Fuck. All right.
Or the other way.
Spitfa. All right, here we go. In 8th place, Paralyzed on 24 points. And I think I have this one the highest. I just like the vibe. It was always the mission as well. I held up the Argentinian cassette, which has an extended mumble in the middle of it. There's some other changes in terms of fades between songs and extended outros on it. So if you get an opportunity to pick up the Argentine cassette, I don't think it's on the CD or the LP, get a rip. It's actually worthwhile. There's even more revenge for your listening pleasure from Argentina. All right. Ken, straight back to you for Paralyzed.
Yeah, I have this as 7 on my list, and it's a real good song. It's just not one of Gene's better ones on the album. I think it's real good. The mumbling part's kind of weird in the middle, like you said, and extended mumbling part would be too much. I know they're maybe trying to rap or something there, create something with that, but. It's a good song, and again, the vocals between Paul and Gene are some of the best vocals. Some of Gene's best sounding vocals, plus Paul's too. Those are all right on for this album. But Paralyzed is a good song. Another one. I don't skip it.
Nice, Mark.
Well, I had this at 6. I think it's a decent song. One of the things that really sticks out for me on this is I love Bruce Kulick's guitar playing on this, like that whole right off the top, that whole lead thing at the top with the wah again. It just sounds really cool, and he's really on point. I think one thing that Bob did really good on this record is I think he really harnessed Bruce Kulick's soloing potential and really drew out as much of it as possible on this album. I think he literally took songs that I think that if he wasn't as on fire as he was on some of them, I probably wouldn't have liked nearly as much. I think. Because I think Paralyzed, if you strip away Bruce's contribution to it, it's okay. It's not a bad Gene song, but I think Bruce just gives it that extra bit of fire that really pumped it up for me a lot more than it did prior. I think that it's good. It's one of the, it's the middle of the road. It's definitely not a stinker. I would never say Paralyzed is a stinker on this record. I think it's not too bad.
Well, technically, this is Lonnie's least favorite song on the album. Since Carjack doesn't count. Why?
It's tough. It's really tough. I had a really difficult time ranking these songs. And usually when we go through this exercise, I start at the bottom and go, oh, yeah, that song's trash. And I go, oh, yeah, that song's trash, too. And work my way up to the good songs. And I was going to do the same thing for this album. And I started with Car Jam. Okay, that's my least favorite. And I was like, I can't pick a next least favorite, I found out. So I had to start at the top and work my way down. And it was really by default that this song ended up being my least favorite song on the album. And I really, unfortunately, can't really give you a definitive answer why, as opposed to I just like the other ones more. I don't have really much bad to say about the song. I agree with Ken, the mumbling in the middle of it's kind of goofy. I don't know what it kind of seems unfinished, like we were trying to do something there and we just kind of just left it as is and didn't really complete the process of what we were originally looking for. But Bruce's work in it is good. I like Bruce's, so I agree with Mark, and I really like Bruce's work in it. I like that you can hear Gene and Paul you can hear each of the main voices of Kiss very well in the song with Gene and Paul. But unfortunately, I don't have a good answer why it's my least favorite song on the album. It's just mainly by default and process of elimination, unfortunately, because I think it's good. I don't have much bad to say about it.
Yep, something that has to end up at the bottom of the list somewhere. All right, in 7th place, one of my all-time favorite Paul Stanley ballads, which is even better on MTV Unplugged, and it is Every Time I Look at You, scoring 27 points. And this was my second favorite song. Again, I've said it all. I will never get tired of it. It's the video that no one ever saw as well. So, as a collector, finding out that there was a video was really cool because I was back in Scotland by that time. And just didn't know what was going on in Kiss World, didn't know that videos were coming out, didn't know that they were past the point of getting shown on MTV in the US anyway, after I Just Wanna. So, great song, love it, but I'll listen to the unplugged version any day of the week. Again, that whole album I can throw on, but on Revenge, it's a really, really great song, and really the high point of Paul's power ballads that he'd started in 80, I guess 82, or 82 with Nowhere to Run and I Still Love You. All right, who's got this second favorite? Lonnie, straight back to you.
I do. I enjoy this very much. It's very strong. I like it more than Forever, and it's a shame to me that this song didn't do better, and didn't do anything for that matter. I'm with Julian, I didn't know, and I don't think a lot of us knew that there even was a video for this song until years later. And I think it's a shame, really, because I think it's a stronger song than Forever. I think lyrically and musically, it's far superior. It sounds even better when they did it live on MTV Unplugged. They did it on the cruise that I went on, and in 12, Paul still sounded great doing the song. I think it's very emotional, and my wife likes this song too. And there's really not a whole lot bad to say about it. And I think it's a song too that that a lot of people can kind of relate to in certain ways. So it's my third from top. It's fantastic.
Sorry, that was your wife. She said she was just kidding. She only says she likes it to make you feel better.
Make me feel better about myself.
Mark, you like this the least of us.
Yeah. How do I put this? Okay. The MTV version of this is good. I like it. I think the song is good. Let me just put it to you like this. It's a good song, but I just don't think this song, in my opinion, could be wrong, of course, I don't think this song fits on this record. I really don't. I mean, you're talking about a record that has these hard-hitting songs on there, such fantastic, attempts at making a real hard rocking song, and all of a sudden you get this, piano orchestra, and it just really seems like out of place on this record to me. I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Because the whole time before, you're rocking out to this record, and then all of a sudden it just kind of comes to a dead halt and comes to this all of a sudden. Me personally, and I know that you guys are not going to agree with this because I just heard you say so, I like Forever better than this. I always have. I just think that Forever is a more... And I think Forever actually would have probably been better on this album than on Hot in the Shade. Although it's probably a good idea that it wasn't, because it probably wouldn't have been as big a hit that it was if it was switched places. But I don't know. I don't think it's a bad song. I think Bob did a good job with it. The orchestra and all that sounds really good. It's a good song. I just don't think that they should have put it on this album. That's my only thing with it. Why I think I placed it so low.
So it's too gorgeous for this, too lush.
Too good
with all the orchestration. It does kind of stick out in terms of its qualities. And actually, I was unfair to you, Mark, when I said it was your least favorite, because it's also Ken's ranked it pretty low as well. Equally.
Voice of reason.
Yeah, well.
Yes.
Tell us why, Ken.
Well, I have to agree with Mark. It's the same thing. I listened to the album this morning, and when it came to that song, it was just like a halt in momentum kind of thing. And I thought, oh, you know what? I never really noticed that before. And I thought, yeah, they shouldn't even put a ballad on this album. They should have just had another rocker. Just rock the whole darn album. I mean, this album's called Revenge. Come on. So I would have saved that for, they could have saved it and maybe released it as a new song as part of Unplugged, or in the Unplugged tour, or used it there, or do something like that. Because Unplugged, that is, again, another one of Kiss's songs, like many other ones, that are fully realized when they are, played live. And this is another one of those songs. It just doesn't work like it does on Unplugged. I don't know what it is. It's just something something about it. It just doesn't work the same way. Even though it's so close, it has orchestration. It's not still not the same. I don't know. Again, I don't know what it is. But again, I would have just put something rocking. I think Bob said, hey, Paul, we need a Beth. We need a Beth, just like Destroyer. We need World Without Heroes, just like The Elder. I mean, need to do that every time. Just put a rocker in there.
Which, Ken, what was the promotional CD single from MTV Unplugged?
The promotional CD single from MTV Unplugged.
Yep.
Was it?
Every Time
that
I Look
one,
at You.
Yeah.
With Rock and Roll All Night. So, yeah, Paul wanted a second bite of that one. And sadly, by then, it was just too long in the tooth.
Too late.
All right, let's try and crank this up a little bit because we don't want a 4-hour show.
Long-winded.
Yeah, I just did a 2-hour show with the Lipstick Guys for the Psycho Circus Fake album.
Yeah,
and that was
I
all
heard
the B-sides. Thank you to everyone who did listen to that. All right, in sixth place on 28 points is Thou Shalt Not. Never been a big fan of this song, mainly the vocal style, but musically it's a great song, so I'll listen to the instrumental rather than the one with lyrics. Mark, let's go to you.
Well, I had this pretty high. I had this ranked number 3 on my list, and because I think it's one of Gene's best songs on this record that he did, actually. I really like the attitude of this song. I disagree with Julian for once, I think. I think that he actually sings the song very well. I think it has all the right Gene attitude in it, and I think that the chorus is very strong, even though it's very simple, thou shall not, but it's very hard hitting and it's very, very well done. I mean, everything in this song to me, I think is done really well. I'm actually very surprised that they put this on the second side of the record. It should have been on side A for sure, in my opinion, because it's very, very well done. It has a lot of great guitar playing on here. I mean, the minute I heard this song, it caught me. And what I found interesting about it, and maybe that's why they did it, is right after you come out of a ballad, you have something so hard hitting, it just wakes you out of that little slumpy coma that you get out of from the ballad. And it's just like, wow, like it just comes out all guns firing with that song. I love it. I think it's great. Like I said before, my top 5 that I picked for this was in there for sure. And these are the songs that really boosted the album for me.
Lonnie, you're kind of with me. Not a big fan of this.
Not a huge fan of it. Again, by the process of elimination or by default, it kind of fell down because I have such high praise for so many other songs on the album that it just kind of falls short. Even though I do like the song, I do like the lyrics. With kind of the religious overtones to it, even too. Kind of like a rebellious religious overtones to it. I kind of like that in like the 7th grader in me, kind of like that going to a Catholic school at the time too, So it's kind of something that kind of spoke to me. But I like it, but just not as big of a fan of it as other songs on the record.
Yeah, I think Gene had written it about one of the televangelists, Jim Baker, who had, obviously been up on his pulpit, damning us to damnation and hellfire, and then had been caught with a hooker or something. Like so many people before, the pontificators are caught out. So that's where he kind of comes from in that. But you know what? Again, musically, this is a great Bruce track. Ken, you also ranked this very high in your list, so tell us why.
Yeah, I've always loved it. I just like the, I don't know, but I'm going to say the beat, but not the beat, but the riff in it is fantastic. And, I just have to give props for this whole album to Bruce Kulick. I just think he plays some of the nastiest guitar solos, I've ever heard recorded. And they're just fantastic. I just want to say, man, he just did a great job on this whole album. But that was the song, that second song I heard off the album, because when I went into the club tour thing, that was the song that was playing. I heard, when I got inside, I was like, oh shoot, this is Kiss, another one. This is awesome, So it was another great song, and I just it ranks high for me. I love this song.
I miss those days, Ken. New Kiss
Yeah.
song. Oh, another new one. Remember that feeling
Yeah.
I know.
when you heard something
Oh,
out
yeah.
in the wild, and you're like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Paul that's Gene that's...
Yeah.
Oh my God, I miss those days, and they're gone.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into, in fifth place, on 29 points, my favorite song on the album, Heart of Chrome. I liked this the first time I heard it. I like it to this day. It's a great Paul Stanley performance. Musically, it's a great song. Lyrically, it's a good Kiss song. It is simply my favorite song on the album, and I don't have to justify myself to anyone. Great choruses, great breakdown. It's Guitar-mageddon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lonnie.
It's great. Absolutely. I mean, I sound like an echo. I'm not as much fun today because I don't have anything bad to say about anything.
Or
I mean,
beer.
I love what?
Or beer.
Or beer.
Or beer. That's true. Too. I'm still drinking coffee at 6 o'clock at night. But no, I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about it at all. It's just we all have albums like these though that just speak to us for whatever reason, and you know, I don't have a whole lot of. We could go through Appetite for Destruction. I wouldn't have anything bad to say about anything on that either, because we all have, and like we go through Asylum. Julian, you don't have much bad to say about anything when we go through Asylum, because it just speaks to you.
It's awesome.
So
Yeah, come on, there's very few Kiss albums that I think any one of us will bag on the whole thing as an entirety.
right.
There may be a song here or there that really does not work for us, but that doesn't make us Kiss haters.
No.
Yep.
Or we wouldn't be doing this show. I mean,
Correct.
you have to like something more than another in order to rank them. So, you know. All right, let's move on. Mark, your thoughts on Heart of Chrome?
Not too hip on this song as you are. I think mainly because of it, like I said before, it reminds me a lot of Tough Love. There's that kind of similarity in it. And the one thing that I didn't like about this song I found that the chorus is kind of it's kind of jumbly. Like I find like it's very busy vocally in there. Like he comes up with that whole hey, and then he'll have that whole thing in the background behind it, like that whole bit in there. I just find that there's a lot too much going on in the chorus vocally. It kind of gets a bit distracting, I find. Where they have some of the songs where they're a little too simple, this is maybe a little unsimple for my liking. Other than that, the guitar playing is good and stuff like that. And one thing that I always kind of base my decisions on is how much of the song I can remember long after I've stopped listening to the record. And this is one of the songs I never can seem to remember much of it. So to me, that doesn't mean that it sticks in my noggin that much, right? So, but overall, I think it's not a bad song. Just the chorus, I think, could have been done a bit better, but, you know, it's kind of in the middle for me.
Okay, Ken, final thoughts on Heart of Chrome?
It's number 6 for me. I think it actually should have been probably switched on the album with what was the other one? You know, Paul's song that I put at the end, Tough Love. I mean, they should have swapped those. Yeah, Tough Love's, you know, I didn't like. So this sounds good. It's a solid song. It's a typical Paul song, as far as I'm concerned. Because this album is just to me, this is Gene's revenge. Gene's album on this one. It's just this one works better for him and his style. But yeah, it's a good song. I kind of agree with Mark about the chorus, about it kind of being busy. You know, I agree. I'd noticed that too. So, but it's still okay.
All right, in fourth place, this is actually a song I think they should be doing on this tour to represent Bruce Kulick and get him on stage to play the damn thing. God gave rock and roll to you too. Yeah, it's a rewrite of a cover, and fortunately they did get rid of all the Argenty shit out of the original version. But by the time I got back to Scotland in 1992, this was still on fucking playlists. It was when I really realized that Revenge was kind of big. And then I realized that I just missed the UK tour. I was like, fuck. Pardon me. Gotta always remember that. So when I started reevaluating where I was at in terms of catching up on Kiss, it was, holy shit, this is a really good song. It sounds fantastic. It's got lots of harmonies. It's got lots of guitars. It sounds absolutely incredible. This album is going to be fantastic. To this day, it remains one of my favorite songs. I love how they play it over the PA at the end of a Kiss show. Never gets old to me. If they're not going to do it in concert, I like hearing it. So, big fan of this. It was a good enough song to make me actually watch a Bill and Ted movie. So, that probably says it all. All right, I want to see who likes it the least. Ken.
I like it least.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you know what? I liked it a lot more when it first came out. And when it was on the Bill and Ted soundtrack, I had that soundtrack when it came out. I enjoy it. I just think it doesn't, maybe I got sick of it, or I don't know what it is. But it doesn't, it's another song that doesn't totally fit to me with the rest of the songs on the album. But it still works. They did a good job of retooling the Argent song. So I have no problem with it. Earlier, Julian, you didn't, or who was it? Or Mark talked about "I Just Wanna" in that one part. I think it was Mark, and that reminded me of they're trying to go for a Beach Boys thing there, but that didn't work. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, maybe it should have been left as a non-album, track, as so many bands do, but I guess they liked it enough and were happy enough, and it was obviously Bob's audition to work with the band on the full album. All right, Lonnie, you like it the next least.
Yeah, I have it more in the middle of the road. I like the song, I really do. I like the way how it starts off soft and then just crunches in your face. I like the lyrics to it. I agree with Julian that it's a song they should be playing on this tour, that it was a big enough hit for them when it came out with Bill and Ted. And it's a great song, and I really enjoyed when they did it on the Rock the Nation tour in 2004, and I really enjoyed it when they did Hottest Show on Earth summer of 2010, and they really haven't done much with it since then. So I really thought they would bring it back as a representation of this era, and unfortunately they have not, and I think it's a shame. I also agree with Ken in the fact that I think that it's the one song to me that doesn't really fit in with the others on this album. Although I really enjoy the song, I think that it does have Bob Ezrin as producer, but it just seems like it's in a different vein than the rest of the songs on the album. So, but I do like the song, but I just don't think it fits with the theme of the rest of the album. And going back, I said my piece on Every Time I Look at You, and then you guys started talking about how it doesn't fit on the album. Everybody was doing a ballad at that point. Everybody had their soft ballad that they threw in. If you didn't have a ballad that you threw in, it was almost like, where's the ballad at? Because that was the formula, that you had to have the ballad in there. You had your one single, and then you came back with the ballad, and then you had a third single, which was another heavier tune. Kiss didn't do it that way. But I like the song, and I wish they were doing it live. But I don't think it to me, it's the one song that doesn't fit on the album as well. You're muted.
I am now. Can you imagine if they're performing this song live on the tour and they get to the high harmony and they just turn around and point up to the video screen and it's Eric Carr from the video?
That'd be great.
What a better way just to give a little tribute to him in the show. God gave rock and roll to you, and here is the Fox in his last video shoot with the band. Yeah. I mean, I want to cry. Mark, let's get your thoughts on this song.
Well, I really like this song. I mean, I understand a lot of the points that you guys made. Because it was done as a separate kind of single, separate to the album, there's always that kind of sonic difference because it wasn't done at the same time that the rest of the album was tracked. So you're always going to have that sort of difference to it. It's not hugely different, but it is different enough that, you know, all of us have kind of noticed that doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of it. With that said, I think that it's probably one of the stronger songs on this record. I really like it. The guitar playing is fantastic. The harmony playing is really good on this. Gene and Paul really sing well on this. I'm glad that they have Eric Carr in there represented as well in the breakdown part. I think it's just a really, really strong song. And like you guys said, it should be represented on this tour, especially, you know, because it's a good representation of this era. You know, if they don't want to do some of the heavier songs on this tour, then pull this one out. It's just enough of cool in it, and there's just enough, you know, it's heavy enough, but not that heavy that it would, you know, dissuade them from singing it, I don't think. You know, I think it's a good song to do.
Do you approve of the production, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move into the top three. In third place on 31 points, Domino. And here's a shock. I have this ranked the lowest. Yeah. I always thought it was just trying too hard to be cool, but it is really fucking cool. So that's all I'll say on that. Lonnie.
And I want to hear what Mark has to say about Domino before I talk. Because I want to hear what he says first.
All right. Yeah, Mark, you're up.
Well,
where do you have this ranked? Where do you have this ranked, Mark?
5. So it's in my top 5 songs of
and
the
and
songs.
You said there's 5 songs on this record that are incredible. Okay, so go ahead.
He likes it more than you, Lonnie.
Yeah, I like Domino.
Go ahead, hang on. Go ahead.
I think that Domino is kind of one of those Gene Simmons songs that, you know, again, harnesses his kind of attitude good, I think. And it's kind of it's a bit of a ZZ Top-ish kind of feel to it in there, a bit, like especially that top, that it's total ZZ Top ripoff. But it's still cool though. I think it kind of suits the mood of it. And even though, you know, it was not really, it's a song that he got another band to help him with as far as writing it.
Yeah,
but I think
Black and Blue.
Yeah. So, but I think that overall they capture a pretty cool vibe on it, and I think Bob, you know, did a good job with this song. I think that Gene sings it pretty well. I have nothing really bad to say about it. I think the video was kind of interesting about him just driving around in a car all the time, but other than that, I think it's not a bad song.
Yeah, early 1990s dinosaur band budgets. Lonnie, sick 'em.
So, you don't have a problem with Domino. You love Domino. That's one of your top 5 songs, but which contains the lyric, "When that bitch bends over, I forget my name." But we have a problem with the song "Spit" because those lyrics are just flat down juvenile.
Yeah.
That makes 0 sense.
He's
been waiting
this whole show for that,
Oh,
Mark.
you know I have. That makes 0 sense. It's the same lyrics. It's the same thing. It's just 2 songs later. It's just track 6 instead of track 4. It's the same thing.
No.
You have no problem with that bitch bends over and I forget my name, but we don't have a problem with the lyrics.
But that's one line.
Come on. It's the
one
same
line.
thing. It's the same thing. Oh, read the rest of the lyrics of the song. What is the song about, Mark? What's the song about?
Yeah, okay, but it's still. I just like it better.
I just like it better. There you have it. That's like a line. That's a line drawn in the sound, Lonnie.
But there's 5 songs on this record that are fantastic.
Ken, talk us down. Talk Lonnie down.
Well, I had this ranked number 2 on my list.
Lonnie will be happy with that. He will approve because you were.
But I didn't complain about the lyrics or anything like that.
Yeah, you liked it.
Yeah, it's a good song. I agree with Mark though about the ZZ Top little bit of feel there, and it's probably intentional, of course, because ZZ Top was pretty hot back around then or a little bit earlier than then. But Domino's, one of my favorite songs from the album, obviously, because it's a Gene, it's Gene stretching out, trying to do something different and making it work, and it does work. Yeah, the videos, whatever the video is, I don't know, understand it either. But that's not what it's all about. It's just the song itself is a cool song. I think it has some good lyrics in it. But I just like it. I like to hear it. I like the way it kicks in, and you know, lots of money and all that bit. It's typical Gene type lyrics, but it works and it's catchy.
All right, Samuel L. Weishauer, do you want to add anything on Domino?
I like it. I like the
keep your feet on the ground and everything.
I like the cheesy sexual lyrics. Got me by the balls. So there's another lyric in there too that may be a little juvenile to some, but we like it, but we don't like others. But I think it's great. I like the way that MTV actually made him change the lyrics to Backs Against the Wall when they did MTV Unplugged. That they couldn't say
Got to have it all.
Got to have it all.
Got to have it all.
Yeah.
As opposed to
at the time when the rappers are doing bitches and hoes, you can't say balls.
Yeah, but we made Kiss change the lyrics of their song,
and no fire in their videos.
Right. So no, I think it's Domino is actually a really, really good song. I have it more middle of the pack on the record, but as far as my rankings go, but it's good and it's fun. I do agree with the ZZ Top type of feel to it. But and it's a very different Kiss song than a lot of other Kiss songs. It has a good feel to it than almost any Kiss song. No Kiss song is really comparable or like Domino, really. Mm-hmm. So no, it's a fun song.
Yeah, and I mentioned the Black and Blue connection with it because it was Nasty Nasty. It was the main riff of that song. And then, of course, he cut it with Silent Rage. And you got the demo on the box set. So, everyone can get a feel for that without having to pay $2,000. All right, let's go into second place. Take It Off, Pretty Baby. Put it back on. Put it back on. Yeah, I've got this one ranked pretty low just because it hasn't aged well. But come on, back in the early 90s, it was a fantastic song. Worked well in concert. Obviously, it was a showpiece for them to bring out local strippers. So, come on, for that 14-year-old in Lonnie. He's like, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. The first... Many a young Kiss fan's first look at a G-string or a thong. There you go. Lonnie, let's go to the 14-year-old.
No, you buy you go buy the record and your first song's Unholy. It's a single. Oh, it's great, And the next song is Paul singing about strippers. Well, I'm like complete heaven listening to this at this point. First is grungy, nasty, in your face, like the most in your face song with Unholy, most in your face song since Creatures of the Night. And then you go into a song about strippers and him, my mind is getting dirty around 11:30. Oh, it's great. I love it. And it's a song that I find myself, singing along to in the car a lot. It's very head bobbing, forget about catchy. Catchy, just forget about your worries type music, like a lot of songs off their early records, even to me. It's very Kiss-esque that it's about women, that it's about, the sexual experience, and I love it. I think it's great. I have it pretty high on my list. I don't have it at number 2. I have it at maybe 3 or I have it at 4. But and Paul's vocals again are great on this song. Mm-hmm. Paul sounds amazingly great with his vocals on the song. So it's really high. I really like it.
Yeah, so that did have a point that, Take It Off is kind of like Take Me for the 90s. Exactly.
Second song on the record.
What you were saying earlier about what was wrong with, Take Me being written in the 70s and something like Spit being written in the 90s. Well, Take It Off is the right way to write Take Me in the 90s, and Spit isn't. But let's go to Ken.
Yeah, I agree with Lonnie. It's a great song. Great vocal. Is Paul's best vocal on the album, in my opinion. He's talking about the strip clubs and whatnot, and girls taking it off, whatever. But I mean, it was good. It's Paul's. This is Paul. He likes that kind of stuff. So it's one of the better songs on the album. I think I had it number 3. I've always liked it. It meant to be one of the early songs on the album. It's in the right place. Right up front there, right after Unholy. So it's a song that I'm not going to skip. It's just a solid written, catchy song by Paul.
Yep, his version of Girls, Girls, Girls. Now, Lonnie, I hope this doesn't set him off, but this is Mark's. He's ranked this the highest out of all of us. So tell us why, Mark.
Well, like I said before many times, when a band can do a 1-2 punch well on a record, it's a sign of a decent record. And Kiss can do this pretty well on some of their records where they have a great first song and a fantastic second song. And this is a great example of that. I think Take It Off is easily Paul's best song on this record, for sure. It has this song, I'll agree with Julian in one way, it hasn't aged well. But to me, this has a sort of sentimental connection to me, because back when I was 19 years old, me and the guys in my band, the Nasty Black, we used to frequent the strip bars all the time here in Ontario, and we had everything. We had full nudity here. It was it was heaven compared to how it was in the States as far as strip clubs go. So over here, we were one with the strip bars. So this song was like a national anthem for us when we were 19 years old. When it connected to us on that level. Now later on, I can listen back to it and kind of smile and think back to those days, and like you said, lyrically, it maybe seems a little, not so cool now, but it's a great song. I think musically it's very well done. I know it's ironically, it's one of the songs that Eric Singer doesn't play drums on, but the style of it though is still pretty similar. You would be hard pressed to point out that it wasn't him drumming on it. He did a good job, I think, of mimicking that feel of the record. But overall, I think it's really well done. The breakdown is good. The solos are really good in this song. And I think it's just very catchy. I think it's one of the better second tracks on a Kiss album.
Very cool. Great explanation for your feelings about it. All right, we're down to the top song, which would have been unanimous had it not been for me. If Alex had been on the show, thank you, Alex, for sending in your rankings as backup for this episode. It would have had a perfect score of what would have been. It would have been 48 points, but for me. So let's recount the rankings. 12th place, Car Jam, 1981 on 7 points. Followed by Tough Love on 17 points. Spit on 18. I Just Wanna on 23. Paralyzed on 24. Every Time I Look at You on 27. Thou Shalt Not on 28. Heart of Chrome on 29, God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2 on 30, Domino on 31, Take It Off on 34, and a runaway, because 3 of you had it as your favorite song on this album, on 44 points, Duh, or Fuh, Unholy. So, what do I have to say? Well, I just think that Paralyzed, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, or God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2, yeah, that whatever it is. Every Time I Look at You and Heart of Chrome are better. So that's why I have it kind of low. But come on this album, even in 11th place, it's still a damn good song. Unholy, again, as a lead-off single, I think it's probably the best lead-off single or lead-off track going back to Creatures of the Night. The aggression, the attitude, the declaration is all there. The style of the music, who would have thought Kiss introing a song with a guitar scratch, that kind of coming in and then into the funky ass chord, because that thing's brutal. Just something so un-Kiss-like. And then the video, it's a great song, even if it's not my number one pick from this album. Let's go to Ken. It's your number one pick. You didn't even hear this in what was it, in 92 in the club, because you came in later when the album was playing, right? Or had you heard it before then?
I heard it, well, yeah, like I said earlier in the show, I heard it on the Headbangers Ball. I think I heard on Headbangers Ball. Yeah, I did. I know I did before the club. It was before the club date. So that's where I heard it, and I saw the video because I recorded it. So, yeah, I knew it was a fantastic song. I mean, the video worked for it, but just the guitar tone of Bruce Kulick and Gene's. This is Gene's best vocal on the album, obviously, too. Just a great written song with a cool riff, and this is the type of song Gene should be singing. I mean, this is the demon type song, perfect song. He hadn't had one since War Machine, I guess, would be kind of the last song since that. So it had been a while that we got something that he should have been singing instead of lonely as a hunter or something. I mean, that's just not a burn bitch burn. Yeah. So this is a great song. And I know why it was released as a single, because it's the best song on the album, and it's the first song on the album. It's perfect song.
Mark, your thoughts on Unholy?
It's perfect. I think it's the best opening song that they've done in a long, long, long time. The fact that Gene got to start off a record for once is telling, because I mean, usually it's Paul's track to have on a record. We were also, it's interesting though how we kind of glazed over the fact that Vinny's involved with a lot of these songs. We haven't mentioned him at all in this, but I guess credit has to go to Mr. Cassano for this song, because the riff is definitely his for sure. Hats off to him. It's a cool riff. I love that riff. It's one of the first things I learned off this album on guitar was this song, because I loved it so much. It has all the attitude. It has all the right performance in it. Also, you can't help but feel that sonically, because of records like the Metallica Black album and the records that came out before this, they wanted to try to match this kind of sonic thunder on the drums that they have for this song. It's great. I mean, this song for me piqued my interest immediately. So when my friend played this to me and I heard this the first time, it immediately like caught me and pulled me in. And that's exactly what you want your opening track to do. And I think that this song, and this is saying a lot coming from me, this song I think is just as good an opener as King of the Mountain. Nice.
Lonnie, it's only fair that we give you the final word on Revenge with your thoughts on Unholy.
Unholy is, I like what Ken and Mark said, Unholy is the perfect song. It's so heavy and so dark, and exactly what Kiss needed in 1992 was for the demon to return. And not only having a Gene song be the lead song on the album, but for them to be a Gene song to be the first single on the album. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that the only time that's ever happened? Because it's always a Paul song as the lead singer. And it's like heroes. What's that?
A World Without Heroes.
Yeah.
Calling Dr. Love and Christine 16, I think, were the lead singles.
Well, as first song on the album and single.
Oh, first song?
Yeah. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
I mean, what Kiss needed was the demon. And despite the fact that the album didn't sell as well as the band had hoped and that the band had anticipated or wanted it to, it was still the perfect recipe at the time. That this song showed people that Kiss was back and Kiss was here to take revenge for that, for lack of better terms.
Nice.
Thank you. See what I did there? So it's perfect. It was a perfect recipe for what the band and what the band was looking for and what the band needed. A heavy song, a Gene song, a different feel from what they had been releasing in previous years with Rise to It, with Let's Put the X in Sex, with Crazy Crazy Nights as their lead singles from albums. That this is darker, this is dirtier, and this is Kiss without makeup the way Kiss should look without makeup, and the way Kiss should sound without makeup. It was perfect. It really, truly was. And it's a shame. I guess Revenge really came out a year or two late. And maybe it would have been received better and had stronger sales had it been released a year or two early. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, polite applause. What else can we say? I was just looking back through my notes there about what I read about some of these songs, and I completely missed one. I just want to gets on my nerves now. It's like an overly excitable yap dog that keeps jumping up for attention that you want to punch really bad.
No, I'm going to lecture you now.
However, my favorite drums on the album. So there we go. All right. There's our rankings. That's Revenge. Put the album on, spin it. Where do you put all these songs? They're just little puzzles that you put in order on a daily basis, and wherever they fall on that day is all down to what mood you're in or what resonates. None of it ultimately matters. It's just a way to organize it. That's our ranking. Unholy, our favorite song, and Car Jam, our least. Damn it all. So, you. We're out of here. That's the show.
What?
I know what you're saying.
Oh, no you don't. Go home. Anyway, that's it for now. So we thank you for listening, and we shall see you next time. Take care. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.